जान कैसी है ये डोरी, मैं बंधा हूँ जिससे गोरी, तेरे नैनों ने मेरी नींदों की कर ली है चोरी। रुत आ गई रे, रुत छा गई रे, रुत आ गई रे, रुत छा गई रे।
Hey everyone, we have the beautiful, creative, intelligent Nandita Das all the way from India, right here in the heart of Silicon Valley for receiving Maverick Award 2019 by Cinequest at the Cinequest Film Festival 2019.
Our Maverick Spirit Award recipient, Nandita Das.
Welcome to Yo India TV with me, Jasleen, Khanuja, and a big congratulations.
Thank you.
How's the feel?
Well, it's lovely. It's lovely to be in this beautiful theatre and to have your own film, be the opening night film. It's a big honor, and it also brings a lot of focus to the film, which is always nice because then more people get to watch it. And also this award is very special because I've got awards before this, like Best Actor, Best Director, Woman of the Year, and these kind of awards. But I think to get a Maverick Spirit Award is the kind of celebration which is very special. And also Manto, my film, he was called a Maverick. So in some ways I feel कि मुझे भी Maverick बोला जा रहा है. So we have a certain kindred spirit in that.
Awesome.
The last 22 years that I've done films, my first film was Fire in 1996, which was a story about a lesbian relationship. And in India we pretended it didn't exist. So since then to now, when I've just recently done Manto, a story about a maverick writer who spoke the truth, it's been a difficult journey. And sometimes, oftentimes, in fact, people have wondered why I do what I do. I've been battling many battles, many forces of orthodoxy, of patriarchy. While you are guided by your conscience largely, sometimes you need encouragement. Thank you so much. I'm truly grateful.
So 40 big movies that you have done.
Big, I don't know, but yes, independent and strong films that I've acted in.
Exactly, strong films. But in this one, you chose Nawazuddin Siddiqui as a first choice. Yeah. So how did it come?
Yeah, so I had worked with Nawaz in Firak, which was my first film in 2008, and that was his most sort of significant role in any film. And when I started writing Manto, I felt like Nawaz would be the ideal choice. One, that he has very powerful eyes, and I feel he has sort of a lived life kind of eyes because he's also struggled a lot. And like Manto, Manto died at 42. He was only 42 when he died, and yet if you see his photographs, it feels like he was much older because he was just so deeply pained by partition, by how human beings were behaving. All that impacted him. And Nawaz is such a natural actor. He just melts into characters, and he and I have a very good rapport. So I brought in all my research and my passion and my vision of Manto, and he brought with him his talent and his authenticity and his beautiful eyes.
सवाल ये है कि जो चीज जैसी है उसे वैसे ही पेश क्यों ना किया जाए। मैं तो बस अपनी कहानियों को एक आईना समझता हूँ जिसमें समाज अपने आप को देख सके। आईना ना देखना चाहे समाज मेरा, पूछे मेरा कल ना देख दे ये आज मेरा।
I am Nandita Das, and please watch me on Yo India TV.
And Manto, as I heard the storyline, it evokes from our independence and the consequences and impact of partition, which is a sad part of the independence.
Exactly.
So how did you get to associate yourself with the storyline?
Well, when I first read Manto in college, but after that I kind of, did my other work, and then it was only in 2012, which was his centenary celebration, where much more was being written about him. And I realized that what he believed in deeply resonated with my own convictions. And he also fought, many cases. He was tried for obscene writing 6 times. When I did Fire, our film was also, it went through a lot of censorship. of different kinds, and even with Firak, and for water I shaved my head, and still we couldn't do it. So I've also seen how artists, writers are constantly being censored and are, you know, being threatened. So I think in many ways the story of Manto resonates very deeply with me, and just seeing by the reaction, I think people are seeing, even though it's a film set 70 years ago, people are seeing that it is deeply contemporary in what it wants to say.
That's beautiful, and I know it has some relation with Tauba Tek Singh as well.
Well, Tauba Tek Singh was one of his most celebrated stories, and you do see a glimpse of that story as well. I've tried to weave in some of his stories in the main narrative about Manto, because I feel you almost cannot separate his works from his own life. So I've tried to intertwine that.
Awesome, awesome.
नीम के पत्ते कड़वे सही, खून तो साफ करते हैं।
बोल के लब आजाद है तेरे, बोल जुबान तक तेरी है। तेरा सुतवा जिस्म है तेरा, बोल के जा अब तक तेरी है।
मैं आर्टिस्ट हूँ, मुझे जख्म और भद्दे घाव मुझे पसंद।
बोलिए थोड़ा वक्त बहुत है, जुबान की मौत से पहले।
सारी हमदर्दी सिर्फ अपने किरदारों के लिए बचा रखी।
आखिर में अफसाने ही रह जाते हैं और उनके किरदार।
ये थोड़ा वक्त बहुत है, जिस्म जुबान की मौत से पहले।
बोल के सच जिंदा है अब तक, बोल जो कुछ कहना है
बोल जो कुछ कहना है।
Director of 2 feature films, also directed spots for UNICEF, Center for Science and Environment, an activist on huge social justice and human rights issues, giving TED Talks, speaking out for human rights, particularly violence against women, children's rights, rights for the disabled, marginalized communities, people with HIV/AIDS. You know, first woman to be inducted to the Hall of Fame for International Women's Forum for sustained contributions to the arts in the world, chairperson of the Children's Film Society in India, French government awarded Knight of the Order of Arts and Letters. I mean, it goes on and on.
सजती है एक धूम मचती है सारी गलियों में सारे बाजार में, आंचल बसंती है उसमें से छनती है जो मैंने पूजी है मूरत प्यार में। जान कैसी है ये डोरी मैं बंधा हूँ जिससे गोरी, तेरे नैनों ने मेरी नींदों की कर ली है चोरी। रुत आ गई रे रुत छा गई रे, रुत आ गई रे रुत छा गई रे।
And how do you think this kind of a red carpet event right at the opening ceremony, at the kick-off ceremony of the Cinequest Film Fest is a little different than other film festivals that you would have attended?
I think there's something very happy and intimate about this festival. You know, I mean, my film went to Cannes. It was the world premiere was in Cannes. I've been to Toronto, to Busan, to Sydney, to London. I've been traveling with it.
मंटो एक इंसान है, मंटो एक इंसान है, मंटो एक इंसान है, मंटो एक इंसान है, मुझ पर इल्जाम है, मुझ पर इल्जाम है, मुझ पर इल्जाम है, मंटो एक इंसान है। जात में ये बांटते हैं, बांट के ये काटते हैं, कटने वाले खाट पे हैं, इनकी मौज रात में है, लाल बत्ती वाली गाड़ी ग्लास इनके हाथ में है, राजनीति में है चोर पुलिस इनके साथ में, मेरी बातें तुमको सच नहीं लगती, सच्ची बात।
I'm coming here again after almost 20 years. I was here, I think, in 2000 with a film which I acted in called Bavandar. The English title was Sandstorm.
चल, सावरी, सामान रख, अंगूठा लगा। अनाज लेगी कि पीसा?
पीसा।
ये ले, 9 रुपए।
9 रुपये? कहीं हिसाब सु?
सरकारी हिसाब सु। और कोई हिसाब को नहीं चले सर्विसिंग साइड पर।
3 गज भराईरा कितना होवे?
11 रुपए या 3 किलो अनाज।
तो लिया 11 रुपया?
3 गज भराई की हो तो दूं ना। ये तो काम चोरी करती है, ऊपर से पैसा मांगती है, हिसाब मांगती है।
मैं काम चोरी को नहीं करूं। थारो आदमी नपाई में चोरी करे।
अरे नपाई हिस्से होती, हिस्से तू क्या जाना अंगूठा छाप। अरे कहीं कर रही है?
पूरी 3 गजरी है। ईसु नाप के बता।
अरे बंद कर, तमाशा बंद कर। ये ले 2 रुपए पकड़, हो जाना 2 11।
So it's been a long time, but I just feel that this is like a happy, intimate festival, and I'm really looking forward to screening my film tonight.
Awesome, awesome, and we are looking forward to it as well.
2002, there were these Gujarat riots that happened where 2,000 Muslims were killed and many, were burnt, and there were gang rapes and stories that we had never heard before. Maybe since partition, I hadn't heard those kind of stories, and more importantly, that's the year when we had 24/7 television channels. So for the first time, one was seeing visuals of these riots, like first hand, and I was deeply impacted by that. And I started doing a series of talks called Identity and the Notion of the Other. And those talks, I realized, were just getting so polarized. People were either for or against. It was, and then I started getting hate mail, and when later that time it wasn't the social media time, but you could see that it was extremely polarized, and either people thought I was being a sympathizer for the Muslims, and I was like, I'm just being human. Whoever is the underdog, we are going to champion for them, right? So it was, and so I felt that maybe I should do a film. These talks with 100, 300, 400 people, where the conversation is not really a dialogue, it's just getting more sort of violent in its thoughts. I'm not being able to really convey what I want to. I said, I'm going to do a film. And that film very organically happened. And I had this script, I didn't know who was going to fund it, where was I going to get the money, and just one thing led to the other, and one day
यहाँ 10 मील के दायरे में एक मुसलमान नहीं बचा।
सीधा पाकिस्तान पहुंची जाओ।
तुझे कभी किसी काम के लिए अपना नाम बदलना पड़े?
मेरी गली में अंधेरा ही अंधेरा है, आज की रात चरागों की लौची कर लो।
शुक्र है तो भूत नहीं जाम।
सिर्फ 7 सुरों में इतनी काबिलियत कहाँ के ऐसी नफरत का सामना कर सकें।
तुम गुंडों को क्यों नहीं पकड़ते जिन्हें हमारे घर को जलाया? तुम समीर अरशद शेख हो और ये बात कहीं बदलने वाली नहीं है। मेरा नाम मोहन है, मोहसिन है।
मार डालूंगा सबको।
So any moments with Nawazuddin Siddiqui while making of the movie that you recall and you want to share with our audience?
Well, there were many special moments. I mean, sometimes I think even Nawaz doesn't know how brilliantly he acts something, or sometimes he would be upset with me because I'm very particular about the dialogues being said in a certain way, and he would say, why can't I change a little bit here and there? I'm like, no, these are Manto's lines, you know, they have a certain rhythm. And slowly he started understanding that. I remember when we finished the shoot, he called me after a week and he said, "Aapne to mujhe bilkul barbaad kar diya." So I said, "You know, you've destroyed me." I said, "Why do you say that?" He said, "I just can't get Manto out of my life, and you know, I don't feel like doing any other film." He returned money for a film that he'd already signed because he thought it was too commercial and he didn't want to do it. So in many ways, I think that's the impact of Manto. I mean, I feel everybody who was in the cast and crew in some small way got impacted by him. And I think those who watch it also feel, a lot of them have said that you know, we carry some amount of Manto with us. And I keep thinking about the film. So I think that's what you intend to do, so it just makes me feel happy.
Awesome. So it looks like all the cast and crew really worked hard to make it a big success. You chose the story very craftfully and then you brought out all your innovation to make this film a big hit that it is.
I don't know about hit, but I think it definitely, thanks to now Netflix, the fact that film is on Netflix, it has reached to the widest audience possible. I get every single day someone is watching the film somewhere, and I think that's very heartwarming. But I'm still an old-fashioned. I like seeing films in the dark auditorium on a big screen, so I'm delighted that, you know, I'm here with the film.
मैं उस सोसाइटी की चोली क्या उतारूंगा जो पहले से नंगी है? उसे कपड़े पहनाना मेरा काम नहीं है। मैं काली तख्ती पर सफेद चौक इस्तेमाल करता हूं ताकि काली तख्ती और नुमाया हो जाए। मंटो एक इंसान।
मैंने घंटों पढ़ा है तुमको मंटो, तुम्हारे जैसा बनूं करे मेरा मन तो। इन बंदों को सच नहीं दिखता, 70 साल आजादी के सच आज भी नहीं बिकता।
अगर आप मेरी कहानी को बर्दाश्त नहीं कर सकते तो इसका मतलब ये है कि इस जमाना ही नाकाबिले बर्दाश्त है।
And I had read Manto in college, but just his stories. I didn't know anything about him. And in 2012, a lot of people started writing about Manto. There was a big article in New Yorker, which was really interesting. The Guardian had written, many Indian newspapers had. And I started reading and I felt like I was reading about my father. And I realized maybe I've grown up with a Manto. And in many ways, what his troubles, his angst and his despair were the things that deeply bothered me. And I felt, well, I could take refuge in history. I could tell Manto stories and still respond to today. Because if you really make a story about today, there are people who either agree with your thoughts or disagree with your thoughts, and then you have a kind of a shutters down where people are not ready to really have a conversation or look within. No? So I said that this is great. Manto provides me that platform or that story where I can talk about him and bring in my thoughts and, you know, the fiction, and I've taken a lot from his own writings, but there's a lot of me as well in the film.
Beautiful. So, you know, especially me as a person, we appreciate ladies who go to great heights, and you have really made it big. And I know there are several challenges that only a woman faces and only a woman can understand, and particularly in our country, India, which does not let women do many things indirectly, even though we are such a strong, big and modern society now.
Well, so we have one foot in traditional world and one foot in the modernity, you know. We are not only the part of the modern world. We in fact live in different centuries simultaneously, I feel. And that's why women do struggle a lot, and you know, many of us who are privileged, if we are getting some kind of a platform to raise voices or to be the voice for the voiceless who are unable to, you know, how much, I mean, women are constantly negotiating, and sometimes even rural women or people that you may think are uneducated or disempowered, they find ways to fight the system, they find ways to fight patriarchy. So I think it is an important movement, especially the focus now in the last 2-3 years has been much more, and I hope we can keep the momentum and actually make those changes.
And so maybe to end on that note is, you know, it seems like with Manto, and you said your father and yourself, and maybe the role of the artist is to kind of find some kind of truth and not move away from it. Do you have anything to share, or just with the rest of the artists and filmmakers and the audience here, like what inspires you, or what you would say to other artists, the role of the artist is?
Well, I mean, art is, the beauty of art is that it cannot be defined, that it's so fluid, and it is what you mean by art may be different from what I mean, and that's totally fine. And it's no one's place to tell each other or anyone else that this is the kind of art you should make. But you know, we are also in a place which is celebrating films. Cinequest is a great film festival. So I think because so much goes into making a film, every filmmaker, everyone who's been in the cast and crew would say that, you know, so many people's time, energy, money has gone into it. If it could have a social conscience, if it could make us closer to the world that we want to see, even if that one drop, if we could do, I think it would be worthwhile. And you know, it would be, I think, quite apt to also what Gandhi said. He said, be the change that you want to see in the world. So as filmmakers, as artists, in times of such strife and divisive forces, I think we in our little way can be balms and can bring people closer.
Beautiful. Any final message to Yo India TV viewers who are watching you around the world?
Well, I would just say that I know you are all, I'm sure, Bollywood fans, but please also support independent films, support films that tell different stories, because you know, there is space for all kinds of different stories to exist and different narratives to come to you. So I hope that you will also watch Manto on Netflix and lots of other films that tell diverse stories of diverse people. Thank you.
Beautiful. All the very best.
Thank you.
सवाल ये है कि जो चीज जैसी है उसे वैसे ही पेश क्यों ना किया जाए। मैं तो बस अपनी कहानियों को एक आईना समझता हूँ जिसमें समाज अपने आप को देख सके।
आईना ना देखना चाहे समाज मेरा, पूछे मेरा कल ना देखते ये आज मेरा।
I am Nandita Das, and please watch me on Yo India TV.
It's like everyone else, your upbringing does impact you. The fact that I was with a Maverick father, he's very Manto-esque in many ways. And I had musicians, writers, dancers, architects, painters coming into my house, going into their place. So I realized there was another way of living. In fact, that was my natural way. I did my master's in social work. I also was part of a street theatre group. I took a year off. So there are many influences that happen in life. But yes, that was my foundation. And the one thing I've always been open to is to just having different experiences. You know. So yes, I didn't even grow up in the industry. I got into acting completely by default with the film Fire, as I had mentioned. And then I did about 40 films in 10 different Indian languages. And primarily because in India, like in America, Hollywood takes up most of the space, or in the world it does. In India, it's Bollywood, as many of you would know. And there was very little space for really independent films. And therefore, I think one thing I've always been open to is just finding different ways to express myself. I think that's my deeper need. So I've just found, I've just been fortunate that I've met incredible people in different fields that keep giving me hope and opening doors.
इस तरह के अल्फाज हमें सड़कों पर सुनाई नहीं पड़ते।
मंटो एक इंसान है, मंटो एक इंसान है, मंटो एक इंसान है, मंटो एक इंसान है। मुझ पर इल्जाम है, मुझ पर इल्जाम है, मुझ पर इल्जाम है। मंटो एक इंसान है।